Today, we're talking about former President Trump picking Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate, Trump's classified documents case being dismissed, the investigation into the would-be assassin, and other top news for Wednesday, July 17th. Stay informed while remaining focused on Christ with the pour-over today. Here's the quote of the day. "Oh yes, the heart is deceptive, and that calls for humility above all else. Because my heart isn't deceptive because it fools other people. It's deceptive because it fools me." Brant Hansen. Let's get started with some espresso shots. On Monday night, former President Trump made his first public appearance since Saturday's assassination attempt. After delegates officially nominated him, Trump arrived at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee with a bandaged ear, taking his seat next to the man he'd named as his running mate just hours before, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Vance, a 39-year-old Marine veteran and Yale Law graduate from working-class Appalachia, is the first millennial to run on a major party ticket. Author of best-selling memoir Hillbilly Elegy, Vance worked in tech and finance before entering the Senate in 2023. In 2016, he was an outspoken never-Trumper, but says he realized their policies aligned despite stylistic differences. Also arriving in Trump's camp, Elon Musk, who endorsed the former president and pledged $45 million a month to a pro-Trump super PAC. The names on the ballot may feel monumental, but will you remember them in 1,000 years? Viewing our lives from an eternal perspective doesn't mean we stop caring, but it reminds us to keep our focus on Christ and live as citizens of his kingdom. 2 Peter 3:10-12 says, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. On that day the heavens will pass away with a loud noise. The elements will burn and be dissolved, and the earth and the works on it will be disclosed. Since all these things are to be dissolved in this way, it is clear what sort of people you should be in holy conduct and godliness as you wait for the day of God and hasten its coming." Former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago classified documents case has been dismissed. U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, issued the surprise 93-page ruling on Monday. She did not weigh in on the merits of the case, instead ruling that special counsel Jack Smith and all special counsels before him was illegally appointed. Cannon asserts that the Constitution doesn't permit the Attorney General to appoint a private citizen to such an office without Senate approval. Smith's office has indicated that they will appeal the ruling, saying it deviates from the uniform conclusion of all previous courts. Even if the appeal is successful, the timing all but guarantees the case won't go to trial before the election. It's a major win for the former president, whose own legal team viewed the classified documents as the strongest case against him. We shouldn't allow political or judicial outcomes to consume our thoughts, direct our emotions, or dull our hope. No matter what happens today or tomorrow, our mission remains the same: love God and love others. Mark 12:29-31 says, "Jesus answered, 'The most important commandment is, listen, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other command greater than these.'" Investigations into Saturday's almost assassination are in full swing. There's still no clear motive. The 20-year-old shooter was a registered Republican who once made a $15 donation to a Democratic-aligned group, but interviews with family and searches of his devices have not revealed any strongly held political beliefs. Meanwhile, Secret Service and local police disagree over who was supposed to secure the rooftop he was on. The shooter was reportedly seen on the roof nearly 30 minutes before firing, and bystanders pointed him out to local law enforcement. An officer lifted up onto the roof, but dropped down when the gunman turned his weapon on him. The shooter took multiple shots at former President Trump moments later. In the wake of the attack, President Biden approved Secret Service protection of independent presidential candidate RFK Jr. Christians have hope in the face of a violent world. Jesus, who himself did no violence, bore the punishment for our sins so that we can live in the Lord's peaceful presence forever. Isaiah 53, 4 and 5 says, "Yet he himself bore our sicknesses, and he carried our pains. But we in turn regarded him stricken, struck down by God and afflicted. But he was pierced because of our rebellion, crushed because of our iniquities. Punishment for our peace was on him, and we are healed by his wounds."
Your kids still have a lot of reading left to do this year. Novels on summer reading lists, which we're sure they'll finish long before Labor Day, billboards on family road trips, and textbook after textbook this fall. Put first things first this back-to-school season, and make sure they have their own copy of the most important book. CSB has a Bible for every age and every stage. Easy for Me Bibles for the littlest readers, Explorer Bibles for your junior page turners, and Study Bibles for your curious contrarian. There's plenty of options for mom and dad too, like the CSB Note-Taking Bible or the Old and New Testament handbooks. Check out the link in our show notes to browse the full back-to-school catalog and get your whole family in the Word this year.
In other brews, here's a rapid round of updates. Houston, we have a cave? An Italian-led team of scientists has confirmed evidence of at least 200 lunar caves, including one found just 250 miles from Apollo 11's landing site. Scientists estimate some moon caves are at least 130 feet wide and 30 feet long and could shelter future astronauts or cavemen. Crowd control issues at the Copa America final in Miami on Sunday led to the ejection of 55 people and the arrest of nearly 30, including Colombia's Soccer Federation president and his son. The match was delayed an hour as authorities juggled the chaos. Reigning World Cup champs, Argentina ultimately defeated Colombia 1-0 with a goal in the 112th minute. A rate cut is almost definitely coming. This week, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the central bank will not wait until inflation hits 2% to begin cutting rates due to the long and variable lags for policy to take effect. After that statement, traders are predicting a 100% chance of a rate cut in September. The House of Mouse has been breached. An activist hacking group claims to have released 1.2 terabytes of Disney's internal messaging, exposing computer code and unreleased project details. The group says its hacktivism is to protect artists' rights and compensation for their work. Mickey hasn't officially verified the released data, but is investigating this matter. Senator Bob Menendez was found guilty of acting as a foreign agent yesterday. Federal prosecutors outlined evidence of the senator accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, cash, cars, gold bars, in exchange for throwing his political weight around. Menendez faces decades in prison, and Senate Majority Leader Schumer called for his immediate resignation. Menendez has promised to appeal the verdict. And that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for listening. If you're listening on the Apple Podcasts app, give us a 5-star rating and drop a review. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow and hit the notification bell to never miss a new episode. We appreciate your support and hope you have a great day. We'll see you on Friday.